Touge, a Japanese word for mountain pass. To many people, it is just a word, but to us drift enthusiasts, it signifies a place where one can experience the purest form of driving pleasure. Coincidentally, it was these Japanese winding roads where Keiichi Tsuchiya recorded the now famous video Pluspy, popularizing drifting and in doing so attracting many aspiring street racers to the mountains to experience this new driving technique, further cementing the popularity of the driving style. Although in modern times the sport has evolved to feature massive tracks or stadiums on a closed track with massive crowd cheering, lights and fireworks going off. And that's great, it's now easier than ever to follow the sport and support your favorite drivers. On the other hand, it is rather rare to see drifting on anything that would resemble a Touge outside of Japan. However, this year I was amazed that I'll be able to see it on home soil. Beside rally, another form of automotive motorsport popular in Slovenia are hill climbs. With the landscape being pretty hilly, there are quite a lot of stages happening throughout the season. And in the last couple of years there has been a change where a lot of these events were allowing drift cars to run the course. Not competing or anything, just driving the course, sometimes in tandems. But this year, those drifters got their very own event, called the Hrušica Driftclimb, happening in the northwesternmost part of the country near the town Hrušica, one of the more popular hill climb locations. It would be a proper drift event with training, qualifiers and a competition on the first section of the public road used in the hill climb event. I was super stoked to see it, and I even invited my friend Touge to come with and provide some excellent footage for the video. The event attracted many drivers from Slovenia as well as Austria and Croatia. Cars were also pretty diverse. While the three generations of the BMW 3 Series are still the most attainable and the most common, the engine choices differ dramatically, from a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter M52, supercharged 3-liter M54, 4.4-liter M62 V8, a 3UZ Toyota V8 and some high-power turbo M50s and M54s. Beside the BMWs, there was an S14 with an SR, a Hachiroko with a 1JZ, a Ford Sierra and a rear-wheel drive converted Audi A4 B5. Oh, and a really rad 350Z. This being a public mountain road, to get to most viewing spots you had to do a little hiking through the woods. The organizers did a good job of cleaning out the foliage to allow a better view for the road, and the little hike was all worth it for sights like these. For anyone interested in experiencing the track from a passenger seat, there were also drift taxi rides available. Among the drivers was also Eric, driving his Lexus GS for when he wasn't competing in his 3UZ swapped E36. After the whole morning of practice, in the afternoon it was finally time to start the qualifiers. The layout of the track was something like this. It consists of 2 inner clips, 1 outer clip and 3 outside zones. These markers are what helps the judging process. The drivers are expected to get as close to the clip with the front of the car if it's an inner clip and as close with the rear of the car if it's an outer clip. The zones are similar to clips, the difference being that they're longer and the drivers are expected to keep their rear wheels inside for the whole duration of the zone. At the start, there is also a designated spot where the drivers are supposed to initiate, that is, start their drift. The judges will also subtract the points if you are too late with the initiation. Runs are usually judged by how close they are to the qualifying line set by the zones and clips mentioned before, the angle of the car in drift, the flow of the transitions, and how aggressive it is. In other words, how balls to the walls you're driving, giving you a maximum of 50 points per run. Each driver usually gets 3 attempts at the qualifying run, and the best 2 are then added up for a maximum of 100 points in the qualifying. The best 32, 16 or 8 drivers, depending on the competition, are then arranged in a tournament-style bracket to compete in tandem or twin battles. After the qualifiers were done, it was time for the battles. A tandem battle consists of 2 runs, where one of the drivers is the lead and the other following is the chase. The lead driver's job is to drive the best qualifying line they can, while driving in such a way that they don't make it impossible for the chase driver to follow. The chase driver follows the lead driver, trying to mimic their line, transitions and angle, while trying to get as close to the lead driver's car as possible. Proximity is greatly rewarded, so that's why you'll see the best drivers pretty much gluing themselves to the door of the lead car. Oh, and another couple of things that I need to mention. You get 0 points if you spin out, straighten out or put more than one wheel over the track limits. This applies for the qualifiers as well as the battles. There were no complications during the qualifiers and the top 16, but you could already see dark clouds forming on the horizon, which would eventually start dropping rain during the top 8. It ended up raining quite a bit, enough to where the track got wet everywhere where the trees weren't hanging over the road. This presented some very tricky conditions for drifting, as dry patches on wet track made it very uneven grip-wise. And when it eventually stopped raining and the track started drying up, the conditions were changing from run to run. That's why in the top 4, all drivers got a practice run before the real battle. The track was almost entirely dry when it came down to the final, so the drivers were able to go all out again. One thing that differs our local events from the international competition is that to win in the final you have to beat your opponent twice. I think it's so that the final is more tense and it gives the audience more action at the very end. And with the final and the playoff done, it was time to head down to the start of the track to find out who won.
And so after a great battle that we saw for 3rd place between Erik Jankovic and Borna Cvajo, the 4th place goes to the Croatian driver Borna Cvajo. Congrats! Četvrto mjesto torej Borna Cvajo, Hrvaška, čestitke! To seveda pomeni, da je 3. mjesto danes osvojil Slovenc Erik Jankovic, čestitke za 3. mjesto! Congrats on winning the 3rd place battle and taking 3rd place home. So after a great final battle, which took 3 rounds to decide the winner, because of course you had to win twice to take home the victory, we will not give away who won 2nd place first, because we want to award the winner of today's race, the first ever winner of Hrušica Driftclimb, and the winner's name is Lukas Popularising! Čestitke Lukasu Popularisu, avstrijskemu vozniku, ki si je svojo Corollo A86 danes zagotovil skupno zmago s fantastičnimi vožnjami, zelo na nož, in pa seveda čestitke za drugo mesto Klemenu Klemanju, najvišje vrščeni slovenski predstavnik. Čestitke Klemen, svojo E30 si je privozil drugo mesto danes. Congrats to Kleiman Kleman on winning second place with his BMW E30.
Congrats to all the drivers for giving it their all and giving all of us in the crowd an amazing show. Congrats to Nico Stefano and his S14 for winning the judge's choice for the nicest car. And of course, congrats to all the podium winners, especially to Lucas for taking home the win in his AE86. Which is kinda poetic if you think about it. The 86 started the whole drifting movement, and it also won the first local Touge drift event. Big props also to the organizers who put together the whole event and put in the effort to make it as successful as it was. I really hope next year we get a repeat of the event. If you missed it this year, I will leave the official Facebook page in the description, so you can keep an eye out for the next year's event. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little showcase of our most exciting local drift event, probably ever. If you enjoyed the video, you can leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel, but if you don't want to do that, that is also fine. In the description there is also a link where you can get yourself some classic Wonderful World stickers if you'd like, and that's going to be all for today. Thanks again for watching, and I wish you a great rest of your day.